Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at the Bitcoin chart really. So I've got a bit of an expectation of what I think is going to happen. I'll present it to you starting from the daily. So we've generated a pump signal overnight, so it's ever so subtle, but we've got it. It's an itchy clouds pump signal. So we've got the conversion baseline cross down here, leading portion of the cloud going green, closed above the cloud, cheeky span now above the cloud. Those four components suggest a pump is coming, or maybe even in the process, and it will take you to the next major area of resistance. That would be this, the 71,405 or 600, depending on if you're going on candle bodies or candle wicks. So roughly the mid 71,000 area, roughly around that area. It has been a big deal for Bitcoin, this area. This hates it. It absolutely hates it. It's also highlighted by the top of this Bollinger Band itself, the upper portion of the band. So way more significance to that area if it were to get there. Now I think it is going to try and get there, and then when it gets there, I think it's going to reject, as it has done, all these times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, loads, about 12 times basically since we've come up to that level. I think we're going to reject from there again, and it's at that point we have to decide, or Bitcoin has to decide, is it going to make a higher low? Or is it going to make a lower low? What's it going to do? Because effectively, this is a big problem for it. Bang, 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 so many times. If we get rejected here, do we get supported on the 21, like we did the other day, on the 20, maybe? Even the 200's simple or exponential, that would be good. It would be a higher low all the same. Or are we going to break, and are we going to use a higher term moving average on something else, perhaps maybe the 50 exponential, where we might make a lower low that could form a bottom? It could. I don't know. Whatever we want to do. If we did do something like this and come down to that level, it would create a lower low, and maybe at that point we'll get a higher low on the money flow index, which normally indicates, the bottom. We see this all the time. Low, higher low marks the absolute bottom of that bear market. Low, higher low marks the absolute bottom, including the March crash. We get the opposite is in play as well. High, lower high marks the absolute peak. Low, higher low marks the absolute bottom. High, lower high marks the absolute peak. Low, higher low marks the absolute bottom. I'd love to see that, because if there's one indicator out there that is very good at spotting tops and bottoms, it's the money flow index on the weekly. I know it's boring and it's simple. I know that you've probably gone out there and bought an indicator for $1,500 or something like that. But sometimes it's the simple things that help you the most, right? You don't need all this expensive, silly indicators. Remember, most indicators are based around price, volume, and time. You can throw in a variety of different elements and combinations of that, but that is the majority of indicators. So if you want to buy an indicator for $2,000 or something like that, to try and make the best of your charts, then fine. But I'm telling you now, judging from what we can see here, based on a weekly, we're able to find tops and bottoms, relatively well. Relatively well, to be honest. So that would be great if we got that. And you'll hear me talking about Bitcoin's absolute bottom, baby. Oh, I'm going all in. Oh, I'm selling my kidneys on eBay. Oh, I'm doing this, that, and the other. I won't be doing that, obviously, but you know what I'm saying. I'll be very excited to put it. I'll just be very excited to see that, because that's the one thing that I'm a little hesitant about at the moment, calling for an absolute bottom. That's why I'm still 50% in cash, even though I've been accumulating altcoins throughout the summer, as I said I would. I'd certainly be more happy if we'd have got that kind of read. But we could also burst out. There is no guarantees. There is no crystal ball to tell you exactly where the price is going to be. It's just an educated guess based upon price, volume, and time. So, with that said, that's basically all I've got for you today. The weekend is the weekend. It's an unpredictable day. Sometimes you'll notice that Saturdays are relatively bullish, and moving into Sunday mornings are quite bullish, and then they fade away into Sunday. Now, one thing about Sunday is that it leads into Monday, which is a normal market trading day. And this next week coming up, we've got Fed decisions, which doesn't sound like much, but I think it is. Okay, I think it is. Whether they hike or they cut or they stay the same, we should focus on the trend. And the S&P's trend currently is a pullback. We've been pulling back on the S&P for the most part of the week, from the top of the band to the bottom of the band. It's likely that we make our way back up to the center of the band, maybe even a little wick higher, so 5,560 thereabouts, and then make our way back down to the bottom of the band and continue down. Now, whatever the trend is, and if it doesn't show any major signs of reversing, which at the moment there's some signs, hidden bullish divergence, for instance, on a daily, it's okay. You've got 2 drives. Whatever the decision that the Fed make is almost always going to be priced into the market, and we might continue with this particular direction, which is sort of down, staggered down. The 200 exponential on the 4 hourly for SPX is 5,300 thereabouts. Okay, so we might be looking for a little bit more down for that. Look, I'm not here to give you the absolute guarantees of what's going to happen, but markets are much better at predicting rate hikes, rate cuts, whatever. The market usually tells you what the result is going to be. Look, you don't need me to tell you that this is a bullish chart, and we got all of this, we even got these bounces. We were able to trade the S&P in the bear market. We were able to allocate for long term once we broke out of the bear market. We've been able to enjoy the ride all the way up. But what do we see on this chart? Bearish divergence on money flow index and on the RSI on the SPX. So a further pullback is likely. Are we talking bear market? Nah. Are we talking catastrophic demise? No. Are we talking about consolidation? Yeah. And how long is it going to last? Well, the last one was 3 weeks, hit the center of the Bollinger Band, new all-time highs. Now we're 2 weeks down at the moment. Next week, well, with all these rates, the Fed decisions and all this other financial information that's going to come through, and the discussions and the geopolitics and all this lot, well, yeah, I could imagine a 3rd week in the red, as it did over here. And what's it going to do? Well, I'd love to see it bounce from this area. If it doesn't bounce from this area, it'll bounce from this area as a golden cross retest on a weekly. So all markets are usually tied together. What's good for stocks should reflect on crypto. What's good for gold should reflect on everything else. What's bad for you know what I'm talking about. The markets are one giant machine, all rolling around together. And if we have another red week next week, then yeah, that's fine. In the context of a much bigger uptrend, it's just an opportunity to buy the dip, in my opinion. Whether you buy this one or this one or wherever. And for Bitcoin, it's just another opportunity to navigate this trading environment. So if we come up, rejection, and then we get supported here, or we make a lower low, it's just another opportunity to buy the dip and sail it back up. It's not the end of the world, okay? It's just price action. And the one thing I'll leave you with is my general expectations of the market, as I keep saying and I've been saying, and now obviously we have this fractal and it makes perfect sense, and I'm going to take off the indicators and I'm going to put it on log scale so it's easier to see. This is my expectation, and it has been the whole time. I expected a run into December, which we got. I expected consolidations from there, which we kind of got, but we did have an extension. A few 100% up from that point. I'm happy to stay in cash. I'm 50% allocated now, as I've been saying that this is a consolidation. Once this consolidation and accumulation finishes, we go up again. So this period in the market, probably a bit testing, boring, might shake you out, might concern you, might bore you to death, might do all of that. That's fine. You're going to have a plan. This is my plan. My plan ends next year when we reach a new high on crypto, Bitcoin, and probably everything, really. And that is it. So lower prices are welcomed for me. That'd have to be lower than where we've already been. But yeah, lower prices are welcomed for me. And if we don't get them, and we break out early, then we flip because the trading environment becomes more favourable. But for the moment, next week does look like everything does want to come down further anyway, which is fine. But as of this weekend, it does look like it wants to go up first. So up, rejection, down, either higher low or lower low, but up first, then rejection, then see where we go. Hopefully that makes sense. Like I say, there's no crystal ball, but I think we're going to reach 70 to 71,000, maybe even today. And at that point, maybe we just see a much bigger pullback. That will concern a lot of people because they haven't, they can't imagine what it must be like for anything to be other than what you can see right now, which is a green candle. How could it go red? It's green. Yeah, and then it go red. How will it ever go back up again? It's red. Yeah, I know. But that's my expectation. It may not happen, but that's what I'll be waiting for. Anyway, I probably won't have a chance to trade that. I'm going to the park today, where I imagine I'll be for the vast majority of the day. So price action can do what it wants, and I'll double check it when I get home. See what I could have had. Right, thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.